Welcome to Chart of the Day. I'm Robert Folsom. What the stock market did during the greatest achievement in human history. If you've watched Chart of the Day before, you know that we usually tell the story of a financial market chart, a recent forecast, an important turn or trend, or an indicator that you won't see elsewhere. Well, this Chart of the Day does something different. We're going to look at a news event that happened apart from the stock market, and then we'll look in turn at what stock market prices did. The idea is to consider one example of an answer to this question. Does the news drive stock market trends? And that is a big question. So we chose a news event that really rises to the occasion, an unforgettably big news event. Because the bigger the news story, the easier the answer should be. The notion that news drives markets is the rule, not the exception. And we see that assumption at work in the news nearly every day. It's a simple cause and effect logic. So, we'll look at what the news event was, when it happened, on the calendar, and where it is on the chart. Here is the Dow Jones Industrial Average in the year 1969. It was a weak year in the Dow. Prices stayed within a 20% range. The market ended the year below where it began. But do you see any point on the chart which shows a reaction to the single greatest achievement in human history? Okay, here's a hint. This is the chart from July of 1969. The event happened during this month. If you do know the answer, then maybe you're a history or space travel geek, because there's nothing on this chart to indicate that on July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong climbed down from the Apollo 11 lunar module to become the first human to walk on the moon. A live TV audience of some 500 million people watched it. Arguably the single biggest positive news event of all time. It was a giant leap for mankind, but not for the stock market the next day, Monday, July 21st. In case you're wondering, Apollo 11 launched here on July 16th. It returned safely on July 24th. Neil Armstrong's small step was here. If events drive the market, somebody's got some explaining to do. And we can take this as far as you want. 1969 was a busy news year. A man on the moon topped the list, but even without that story, 1969 included an exceptional number of history-making stories. Richard Nixon became president in 1969. He inherited the Vietnam War. 1969 was the peak year for the U.S. military presence in the country, 550,000 soldiers. Also that year, 11,780 U.S. service members died in Vietnam. On November 15th, some 500,000 people came to Washington, D.C. for the largest anti-war protest in U.S. history. Back to early in the year. On January 30th, the Beatles gave their last public performance on a rooftop in central London. Police broke up the impromptu concert. April 4th saw the first artificial heart implanted in a human. On August 10th and 11th in Los Angeles came the killing spree which would later be called the Manson family murders. August 15th through 18th, the Woodstock concert. On September 22nd, Willie Mays became the second major league player to hit 600 home runs. October 29th, the ARPANET project connected two remote network nodes, one in UCLA, the other in Menlo Park, California. This amounted to the first network of networks, which is what the internet is. On November 19th, Apollo 12 became the second mission to land on the moon. All big news stories, yet none of them correlate with the stock market's turns and trends in 1969. Now, this is not to beat up on the media, because the fact is, the supposed link between news events and financial markets, that is what most investors, economists, and Wall Street look for and tell each other nearly every day. News does not drive market trends. I don't know what news stories said about why stock market prices were down July 16th through July 24th, 1969, but whatever they said, nobody remembers. History does remember Apollo 11 and Neil Armstrong on the moon. That epic news event is unrelated to what happened in the stock market. As for what does drive stock market trends, see below for more. Thanks for watching.